And look at Randy Orton slithering.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out! KO! Here's the cover.
Hey, what's up everybody? We're back here today with another vid, but this time a little different topic. I know I've been doing a lot of focus on the gameplay lately, so this is more of a talking point one. But before we get into that, this is a couple games from my quote-unquote grind, I guess. 3 mark the Skorpion G. Actually, this first game is a 3rd mark game, so you'll see me pick that up end of this one. And the second one, I may talk a little bit more about the gameplay because it's a bit more interesting than this one. This one's going to be just kind of a steamroll. But what's the actual title of the video? And it's something I get asked semi-often on streams occasionally, and I tend to stray away from it, answering it too much, and I really never want to do a video on it because it seems kind of clickbaity, and I'd like to avoid that. But one of my favorite premium tanks in the game, and obviously my first answer is going to be a lot of the light tanks, but they're not really great silver earners. So I would usually say Vanguard Turtle, M4190, Hawk 30, stuff like that. But that's probably not what you guys are really looking for. They're good crew trainers if you're looking for a good light tank to train your crews for that. But a lot of people are asking in terms of silver making ability and performance. So I'm going to focus more on my 5 favorite tanks that are premiums at tier 8 that aren't scout tanks, and just go from there. And yeah. So, and also to be, as a disclaimer, it doesn't mean these are the top 5 best tanks. These are only the ones that are in my garage. So the Ragnarok, stuff like that I don't actually own, I'm not going to mention because I've never played them. Even though I'm well aware of how good the Ragnarok is, for example. So, start with the easy one that the gameplay is focusing on is the Skorpion G. Skorpion G was probably the first premium that really started where the premiums are better or equal to Tech Tree 8s, and they're more fall in line with what we see out of premium tanks nowadays versus, say, the IS-6 and Jagdtiger 88 days, where the tanks are kind of lackluster. I have differing opinions on that. It's good that they're better because you're paying money for them, generally speaking. But it's also kind of because you see some of those tanks get power creeped into basically oblivion, and it's a little unfortunate. But I like the Skorpion G. It's so good. We do joke about the gun. It on paper is 0.3 accuracy with 490 alpha, which is very nice to tier 8. With the turret, even at paper TD, it does not have the best camo values because it's kind of large for a tank this size, for this tank. But we do joke on stream a lot that even with the 0.3 accuracy, it's the most accurate gun in the game because it misses some really easy shots, but it also hits shots like that, which are just disgusting. And I find it to be one of the most consistent mediums, or not mediums, sorry, I'm speaking on the tank, but it's one of the more consistent tanks, premium-wise, that I own. Just generally speaking, regardless of the map, I can do fairly well in it because of the alpha damage at 490 and the excellent mobility. Just overall, it's a solid tank, even on maps like Himmelsdorf, which you're going to see a ridiculous game on Himmelsdorf that some of you may know about at some point. I didn't want to put it in this video because I feel like it deserves its own solid commentary by itself. Some of you may know the game I'm talking about from the stream, but look forward to that game because it's going to be kind of ridiculous. But Skorpion G, it's usually my first recommendation if people are asking for a tier 8 premium. If they don't already have it, I recommend getting it generally, just because it's so solid of a tank. And you can just see, we just rack up damage fairly easily. If you add silver multipliers like ×2, you can easily have 250,000, 300,000 silver games, even if you're only doing 3k damage. It's only 6 shots in this tank, generally speaking. So, highly recommend this tank always, even if it's a little old comparatively to some tanks. It's still very solid vehicle. And then we're going to second one which is the SU-130 PM, which is nice. A lot of you have for free right now because of the op that just dropped. It's basically a Russian Skorpion G, a little low profile, so better camo on it, bigger alpha, but worse accuracy. Granted, I don't always notice that accuracy myself, as that is a disgusting shot in the LTTB. So I don't know if you're going to pull shots like that off in the SU-130, but that tank, I almost want to say I enjoy more than Skorpion Gs sometimes, just because of the camo and the alpha damage is very juicy. 520 at tier 8 means you kind of regularly can roll up to 600 damage, which is pretty disgusting, especially since you have a turret. Granted, it's not fully traversing, like the Skorpion G's turret here, but some of those extra benefits like the camo and the alpha really make that a very solid tank as well, that I always recommend. And granted, a lot of you already have it, so it's something that always comes up, and then, like I said, you can get it for free right now with the ops that's going on. So highly recommend that tank. And minus tier 8, minus the TDs, which are the two obvious ones. Then there's the tank that everybody loves right now, apparently. It's the Dragon, which he just met a bad end right there. It's bad timing. But as he gets ran to death by a Panther 88. There's just nothing bad about the Dragon, really. Maybe the DPM, that's pretty much it. Never buy the Lantern C. I can almost never, ever, ever recommend that, especially when we have the Dragon with that 210 Hesh pen for the alpha on the premium rounds. Granted, if you're looking for silver, you can still fire the APCR out of that L7, which is still quite juicy at 390 alpha. It's very nice for a tier 8 premium. It's pretty, I don't say buck average, but it's pretty it's upper end compared to like Type 59 2 and King Dragon, stuff like that. So again, very solid tank. I've done a whole review on it, and check that out, I guess. Pin that or kind of throw that out there. So solid vehicle there. Never can go wrong with the Dragon. I think it also has the highest base pen, 268 on the standard rounds of any tier 8 premium tank, especially medium tank at very least. So if you're looking for a medium, that's a very solid choice to go for, and one of my favorites personally. As you see, we pick up the third marks on Sand River with Petty, easy game, nothing crazy. Like I said, nothing really to write home about. We pretty much just steamrolled and got our third mark pretty easily, which is a nice change of pace. So, as for the fourth one, I'm going to go with a tank that is actually a preferential, and that is the STA2. And just to cover all the bases a little bit of, hey, I want a pref tank, what should I look at? STA2 has always been a tank that I quite enjoy for running preferential platoons. That's one you're going to want to pick. Excellent DPM, pretty excellent pen too for a premium tank. Most of the time you have to suffer in the penetration department or mobility department for a preferential tank. AKA look at the Type 59. It's not the most mobile. This is the standard Type 59. It has terrible aim time, stuff like that. Mediocre pen. It's not the case with the Type. Yeah, it's just not. So with the STA2, I mean, you get a tank that has excellent pen, especially on the heat rounds. The heat rounds have 275 millimeters of penetration, which is just absurd at tier 8. You basically butcher anything with that kind of penetration, especially since you only see tier 9 tanks. And a while ago, they buffed the mobility on it, so if you're going off PC replays, guess again, that tank is very, very solid on our version, much better tier for tier, and just a generally really good tank. I know Swindle talks it up a lot in his videos. There's quite a few more games in it than I do. I don't play it nearly as much anymore, just because I don't really need silver. That's why I kind of stray away from this topic. I play more premium tanks for very solid tanks, more how good they are than anything. And then I should still play the STA2, but I just choose not to for some reason or another, as we're going through some blind shots here on the camper ridgeline opposite to us, which is not a bad idea on the Skorpion G here. It's going to be a very slow game because my whole team is pushed to the right, so ignore the gameplay for the first bit of this because it's going to be a very kind of drawn-out experience here as we're looking for the shots on any tracers coming through here and see if we can't pick up a shot as we pick up the line of sight on the convoy and slap him for a nice 497. But yeah, SC2, if you're looking for a preferential tank, that's the one they go for, at least in my view and based off my garage. You could also go for the FCM50T, another very solid preferential tank to go for if it ever goes on sale. I don't actually own it, but that thing's been buffed to oblivion, so highly recommend that one as well. But again, I don't have any personal experience with it because I've never actually played it, or nor has it ever been in my garage, unfortunately. So maybe one day it will be. And then the last one I want to cover that's in my personal garage, and I've recently got it, I've only played a handful of games in it so far, is actually the Type 59-2. It's very similar to the King Dragon, and it's much better than the regular Type 59, in my opinion. You get a very nice L7 on it, which is not quite as good penetration wise or anything like that as the Dragons, as it only gets 200 millimeters of penetration and about 250 heat pen, which can suffer because it does see tier 10s. I haven't really had to go with that yet, go up against tier 10s in that thing, but so far I've been having some very solid results in it. That 390 alpha gun, it's very reliable, very quick to aim actually for compared to like the Type 59, the regular version, which only has the small gun, a 250 alpha gun. So kind of surprising about that. I'd like to see a buff to the Type 59, honestly, because honestly it needs it. But Type 59 too, if you haven't got it and looking for a solid medium tank as well, a solid Chinese cruise trainer, that's the one to probably go for. You could say the King Dragon as well. I've never played the King Dragon, but it looks like a Mickey D's Happy Meal or something, so I'm going to pass on that one. I'm not usually one to care about tanks' appearances, but yeah, I'm going to pass on the Happy Meal and go with the tank that looks a little bit better, for me at least. And yeah, that's probably my favorite 5 in my garage right now that aren't light tanks. Again, if you're looking for light tanks, obviously Vanguard, Hawk 30, M41 90mm, basically you can't go wrong with any of those. Turtle's also not a bad gig either, if you like derp guns. So yeah, now jumping into the gameplay a little bit more after that short kind of talk with you all about those, and hopefully that gives you an idea of what I like, what are some good ones to look at, just based off of what my garage looks like for premiums. But you can notice this game, we have not been winning anything, and that's not too surprising considering our team did not push the entire other side of the flank and really didn't want to push this side of the flank either. As you see, we're trying to help this guy, but we don't want to go too far up because, yeah, you're going to get shot in the butt. But we have really no choice because we've got to help this guy. Again, that was a very massive low roll, and we take another shot, unfortunately, and leaving us on minuscule health. And at this point, I'm hoping my team pushes, but also I'm playing rear guard here and just paying attention to the mini-map and just watching where I'm getting shot from. And I paid attention earlier that I got shot by a big gun, that's SU-130 more than likely, from that 2 platoon on the other team, from that ridgeline opposite of me. So that's in my mental, like, I've got that in the memory bank right now. And at this point, I'm kind of going for some blind shots on where I think they might be, some obvious positions, because I don't think they moved from there. I really highly doubt it. So at this point, I'm trying to see if I can look for tracers. We can see the tracers flying out, and we're going to start taking some pot shots here, and boom, there we go, we connect. And this is really a good thing to do sometimes. If you can look for some obvious positions like that, you can get some easy shots in the guys that aren't doing anything. As we load up the APCR now on the Skorpion G, which is pretty disgusting, and honestly I should almost load HE at this point because I pretty much know it is the SU-130s over there, and if I hit them, there's a very good chance I could pen them as well. And here I do that. I'm going to load the HE, the 2 HE rounds I carry in this thing, and we've actually managed to keep this game close, even though we were down like 0-5 at one point, and now this game is buck even. And sure enough, we connect one of our HE rounds. Did it pen? Did it not? We don't know. We'll have to look at the post-game stats on that one. And we're just looking. We blind fire another one. Maybe not the best idea because he's going to have moved after that. Maybe could have waited. But here I'm telling the team, trying to tell them, there's guys right there. I haven't been spotted at all. They have not been spotted this entire game. But we do know they're there, and hopefully that's going to make this game a little more bearable to fight and maybe pull back. As we actually spot the, not we, but somebody on our team spots up the ISU 152. And so I'm going to go into a position where hopefully I can get a shot into him before he pushes up, because obviously we're a one-shot. And we want to try to take as much of his health before he can even get his gun trained onto me. And there we go. We pick up the spot, slam one into him for 552. But now he can still out-trade us. He's not a one-shot for us, but now he is. Already slams one into him. And now it's just kind of a game of chicken. Will my camo kind of work enough to go for the blind shot here through the bamboo? And unfortunately does not connect that one. It's unfortunate, but not totally unsurprising. It looks like he backed off down the hill a little bit, which is, yeah, oh well. But at this point, I'm still not too keen to press anywhere. So I just want to kind of chill here. I'm biding my time. Or the SU-130 is going to push. Our team just took care of the AT-7. They should be pushing into the base hopefully soon, and then maybe I'll follow suit, and we can deal with that threat together. But I still don't know how much I actually hit the SU-130s for, as I'm taking a couple more blind shots here. I kind of have the ammo for it because I don't think I'm going to need all these rounds to kill 4 tanks if I need to. And we're just playing real passive here. I'm not always balls to the wall, going everywhere crazy in my tanks. Sometimes it's nice to take it slow, nice and easy, and let the game play for you. Let them make the mistakes almost. We've already taken quite the beating this game, as they're already tries to blind fire. Not a bad idea because it's pretty obvious the general area where he's going to be at, because otherwise the ISU would have spotted him. So I probably would have blind fired up here, but oh well. And now I'm just waiting, and again, this has been a very slow game, so if you're here for the gameplay, I apologize, but sometimes this is how you gotta win. This game was pretty much, I don't want to say unwinnable, it looked like. We were down quite a few tanks at the beginning. I think it was like 1-7 at some point, because again, our team just did not push anywhere, and I wasn't going to go to a flank by myself in a paper DD. I'd get steamrolled. Never do that. I almost never recommend going to a flank by yourself. It's just generally a bad idea. You can do this more or less on some maps where you could kind of hang in the back and try to protect the rear, because you know on like Pearl River the enemy team is going to follow through the middle. They're going to flow through that other side, and just kind of hopefully hold them up enough that maybe a couple of your teammates pay attention. I know, a crazy concept, and come back and help you out a little bit. But like I said, this game has been very, very, very slow paced. I think I was even joking on stream that I was gonna fall asleep during this, but I don't want to rush out. I want to try to pull this game out of the bag because it seemed impossible at the beginning, honestly. And I'm just waiting for the waffle to go into their base. I've got the camo net up. I don't actually have binos on this thing. I think I run optics on it, if I recall correctly. I'm a little weird with the setups on tanks that aren't mediums or light tanks. I'm always a little confuzzled on what the hell to do in terms of what's the best way to use them. Skorpion G I usually run fairly actively. Not like an active scout, but I'm a little more aggressive in it than maybe you should be. You may even saw in that Sand River game as our waffle shuts down their arty, which is very nice. And now I'm really hoping if he is spotted there, and I'm pretty confident the ISU has backed off somewheres, I don't know. And even if he does, maybe our arty can kill him if he does pop up over there. But he's going to sit in the base, which is going to allow me to sit here, and hopefully the SUs will go across the field or give me some kind of a shot to where I can surprise them in the side and get a side shot into them. And sure enough, one of their SU 130s pops up on only 280 health. He's going in, has no idea I'm there, and we're able to take advantage of our teammate capping by putting a shot into the side of that guy. Just beautiful result for us. And it looked like he lost a lot of health, so it looks like as we were the first ones to, or somebody else was, he was probably the first time to detect it there, we probably penned with an HE round, and maybe even hit him twice. So, pretty good. But what that means is, where's the other SU? Did we hit him at all, or not? As we spot what I assume is the ISU by our artillery, and now I'm just like, okay, the one SU was up here, is the other one up here as well? And this could be bad, because if he's on full health, we're screwed. And fortunately for enough, we spot him actually the first time in the game. Nearly 13 minutes into the game, and we're the first ones to spot him. But he's already taken damage, so we did pen him as well for some damage. And we were to take him out for our second kill of the game and bring back a game that was pretty much nigh impossible to win. And we're able to cap this one with our waffle, and unfortunately already does die. Oh well. Yeah, we could hunt down this guy, but that's really not the smart idea. And our waffle caps, and yeah, I take a blind shot just to try. But we actually managed to bring that one back in the Skorpion G. Not the most exciting gameplay wise, but hopefully I can give you an idea of why I was doing a couple of why I was playing so passively. There at the end, as you see, again, 4,500 damage. It's a pretty, I don't want to say average game, but it's not a crazy result in the Skorpion G. You can expect some ace tankers like that, the damage-wise, fairly often, depending on how you play it. As you see, yeah, we penned that SU twice, and penned him twice as well. Unfortunately, it looks like our HE round did not pen on that guy, or maybe, I'm trying to remember which one. Maybe it did, I don't know. Correct me in the comments. Maybe that was the first guy we killed for 200 health. But I think we probably did pen one of the HE rounds in that game, which is nice. And definitely won us the game, because otherwise, yeah, they would have won full health. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll catch you next time. See ya.